Hello, welcome to Mining Now. I'm your host, Jared Downey. We are on day 3 at CIMBC 22. We're filming the show live from Vancouver. And today we're focused on a pioneer in the mining industry. We've got MineSense on. Their CEO, Jeff Moore, has joined us. Welcome, Jeff. Good to have you.
Great to be here, Jared. Thank you.
You're quite involved. MineSense is quite involved in CIM. I think you're doing some keynotes, members of your team, and rather than me trying to remember, why don't you tell me what you're doing here at CIM?
Yeah, no, we're very proud to have a large part at CIM. Of course, our whole business started here in BC and in Canada. And as our business has progressed, we're now a gold sponsor of CIM. And we also hosted the keynote address this morning. So yes, we're quite active. And of course, we have a booth just over here on the floor.
You know, I mean, we don't want to look back too much, but in the last couple of years, obviously we haven't been able to get together. And that has it been sort of nice for you to be able to sort of reconnect with people? I mean, I'm sure you've been in a lot of communication with a lot of people here over the last years. Now you're actually getting to say hi, have a little chat, have a quick coffee, all that sort of thing.
Oh, absolutely. I think we all made do as best as we could, and there's a lot of technology during COVID, but absolutely fantastic to be, again, meeting with people in person, and it just adds a whole other element to how you can interact and talk about what's going on in the industry. And yeah, we're thrilled, I think, as everybody is, to be able to do this again in person.
A couple of people have said to me they were surprised at how quickly it just felt natural just to be out and about again.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think we've all have that panic when we're looking for a mask and realize, oh, we don't need that right now. So
unless you're at the airport, a couple people they went there and they went, oh no, I don't have it anymore. MineSense, I mean, pioneer is the right word for what you're doing. I want to go down into some specifics of your sensors and that, but can you just give us that overview, just sort of that 30-second thing of when you're telling people about MineSense?
Yeah, for sure. And I do think, obviously I'm biased, but I think pioneer is a very accurate word. MineSense all starts with the understanding that if you compare mining to any other industry that at least I'm aware of, is the only industry that actually does not know what's in its feedstock. So what's in that raw material that begins the mining process on a mine site. And that's the most important place to know exactly what's happening with your body. And so the pioneer was understanding that if we could do something at that point, the value would be massive. But the challenge was it's a very, very difficult place to put technology and delicate sensors, et cetera. And that has been our whole mission over the last few years to develop that. And I would say, yes, we are a pioneer. And now for the first time, the mining industry actually has complete visibility bucket by bucket as to what's actually in the ore that they're handling in that first step of their operation.
Well, when you're talking about other industries and their feedstock, you're talking about, things like pulp or the ag sector, where it's just not as heavy, not as abrasive, essentially, right?
Yeah, and I started way back in my early career. I was started the chemical processing industry, and so like mining, it's a process where it's a series of steps. And every step upstream affects a step downstream.
Right.
But in all those other industries, at one point in my career, I was building a plant was my role. And there was tremendous focus on understanding exactly, almost to the, molecular level, so to speak, what was going into your process at the front end, because that affected that process and then affected every single other process down. With mining in the traditional methods, they're using a sampling process that the industry understands is wildly non-precise, but before ShovelSense and MineSense, it was their only option.
Right.
And that whole sampling process puts a lot of variability into that front end of the mining process.
And now a moment to thank our sponsors. First up, we have Apex Automation. Looking to solve a problem? Apex Automation has a solution. Their proven track record has helped organizations streamline production and improve team morale by removing mundane tasks and lowering operation costs and burdens. Robotics, advanced process control, and machine learning are examples of what Apex Automation can provide. Have an idea and looking for a trusted consultant who can deliver? Contact Apex Automation today and start your team's automation journey. Visit them at apexautomation.ca to learn more. Next up, we have Savannah Equipment. Savannah Equipment supplies new and used mining equipment around the world, from placer to underground to ore processing plants. They have gold concentrating tables, trommels, and mineral jigs in stock now to take advantage of the high gold prices. Visit them at savannahEquipment.com, where you will find more equipment every day. And next up, we also have OptiSize. OptiSize is a leading edge geophysical acquisition design and software company. OptiSize provides innovative seismic survey designs utilizing the latest field technology and optimizing for advanced processing and quantitative interpretation techniques. OptiSize's mission is to bring sustainable exploration solutions to energy development with their custom land footprint reduction technology, EcoSize. EcoSize enables operators to focus on reducing their environmental and greenhouse gas footprint while imaging all their subsurface targets and reducing costs. You can visit them at optisize.com to learn more. And next up, we also have Fenner Dunlop. Fenner Dunlop USFlex belts are engineered to withstand the harshest applications, delivering benefits that solve customer problems via superior rip, tear, and impact resistance. USFlex are extremely strong and robust belts that are difficult to destroy, which is important for heavy-duty bulk material handling environments. Made in their very own North American manufacturing facilities, this revolutionary concept in straight warp conveyor belting is up to 3 times more impact resistant versus competitor belting. USFlex users use fewer belts per year, make fewer belt repairs and replacements, reduce or eliminate belt downtime, and improve employee safety. Visit them at FennerDunlopAmericas.com to learn more about their premium USFlex conveyor belting. And last but not least, we have Fuller Brothers. Fuller Brothers Inc. has over 59 years of tire industry experience as the world's leader in providing non-hazardous, non-toxic products that reduce tire management costs for a diverse range of customers. The acknowledged formula developers of the globally recognized Tire Life. Fuller Brothers also produces other quality products such as PSF Plus, PSF Lubes It, Tire Cream, Dripless Tire Paint, Omega Tire Repair System, as well as select tire service tools and tire painting equipment. For more information, you can visit them at fullerbros.com or by calling toll free at 1-800-547-7785. Fuller Brothers, we have the inside covered. And now let's get back to the interview.
I want to give it to some technical things as well with you,
Yeah.
but I wanted to, before we get into that, just we were talking before the camera started rolling, that just the market position that you're in now, I mean, you really couldn't have wrote a better script for a company like yours now pushing into the market. You're expanding. I think you had 4 years ago when we were starting our show here, you had just joined MineSense. Is that right?
That's about correct. Yeah.
And so now 4 years later with you with the company, I mean, the market demand, I mean, the copper demand alone is just skyrocketing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, MineSense, we're very focused on the mining industry, and that's really what we consider ourselves as a primary from a company perspective. But we're also very much a clean tech company. We're also, of course, a digital company. And so in the clean tech space, I get to hang out with a lot of CEOs of various clean tech companies. And our fit into mining is both that in the operations, we help the mines themselves reduce their footprint, become greener, reduce their greenhouse gases, their carbon footprint. But also the mining industry is critical and become even more critical because these new technologies like EVs and solar and wind, they require the metals that the mining industry creates. And our technology literally opens up supply in existing mines. And so we contribute in that way to help the mine supply more of the copper, nickel, cobalt, et cetera, that's required for these technologies.
I actually happened to have lunch with a couple of your team members yesterday. We just happened to be sitting at the same table, and they were very engaged, and we had a nice chat. And I was wondering, obviously the team, I can tell your team is very engaged. I know it's going to be a bit of both, of course, but the demand there's the interest in MineSense. How much of it do you think is coming from now the industry needs you, so they're looking, as opposed to 4 years ago, you're getting out there, you're trying to talk to people, but now that demand is wrapped up. I mean, I know it's both, but I'm just wondering if you could sort of differentiate the two.
I mean, I think it is both. I mean, as we've grown, as we've developed the technology to be fully commercial, we've grown the team along with that and expanded our commercial footprint. But the other thing that's happening is that we now have fantastic reference sites where the first thing that we do is we increase the profit of the mine. And that's still very, very critical. So there's a clear and measurable increase in the profitability of the mine. And we now have reference sites that are talking about that
Right.
and talking about the immediate profit improvement, but also these data sets we're creating for them, they've never had before. There's visibility. I mean, before they were somewhat blind, and now they have clear visibility with these data, with this data that we're creating for them, and that has tremendous impact and gets them very excited. And so these the customers we have so far, they're talking about this, and the industry is picking up. And of course, this industry is fantastic. It's sharing practices and sharing what's going on, and that's creating tremendous momentum for us right now.
And you really got past that first to be second thing in the mining industry.
Exactly. I mean, we were very fortunate. We had two fantastic partners here in BC that worked with us as we were scaling up the technology and going through all the challenges of making this happen. And now with that, now we're expanding to other parts, and that's so that the first movers that we have, huge. It was fun. I've met a few of them here today and yesterday. But now those first, that's established, and now this race to be second is absolutely happening.
Yeah.
The
I want to go back to what you said. You're a clean tech company. I mean, you've got some recognition on a pretty high level. I think there was it's like a $2 trillion. I don't exactly know what it was, but it was something to do with RBC, and you were recognized. You won a couple of awards. Can you just touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. We're very, very proud of our clean tech DNA. The RBC did a massive report on what's required to really change our overall sustainability footprint. We are the only company that was mentioned from our sector in this report. And on the awards side, we're very, very proud. We've been there's a clean tech forum, which is the organization globally that's the most recognized clean tech organization. They have something called the Global 100, which is the top 100 private companies globally. And MineSense has been one of the 100 now for the last 5 years.
Wow.
And then more recently, Deloitte has a program they refer to as the Fast 50, which recognizes the fastest growing technology companies in Canada. And we were awarded on that in their clean tech sector. We came in 5th on that. So we're also very proud. Clean tech combined with how fast we're growing as a company.
Getting named to that top 100, is that because it is such an impact at that feedstock level, just what it can do when you talked about reduction, can you expand on that, where actually we'll get into the technology a little bit, because you're sort of changing even the way, well, certainly the way I thought of 4 years ago. I didn't think of I would think of it as a big bulk, and you're sort of breaking it down right at the feedstock level.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really where it all starts. So as the mining community knows, the traditional method is a sampling method. So when the mine drills the holes to put the blast material in, as they're drilling, a pile of material is created, and that pile is sampled, and then those samples are sent off to an assay lab, and a chemical assay is done. What's actually measured is grams of material. It's little paper bags of stuff that goes in the lab machine, and they come out with what's probably a very accurate representation of, let's say it's copper, what the grade of copper is in that sample. The challenge is that then representative of what you pulled out of the drill hole, and maybe it is. But then the bigger challenge is that these drill holes are a very small amount of the volume, and they're vertical. And so then there's that big interpolation exercise where you have 0.3 here and 0.4 there and 0.6 there. The mine then takes that information, more or less averages it, and then takes a large mass in copper, 3,000 to 5,000 tons typically, and they're referred to as a block. And that block is considered to be homogeneous. And all the mines in the world know that's not correct, but it's the best method that they have without ShovelSense. So with ShovelSense, we now give them that visibility. We're incredibly accurate, and we now have a grade and other ore characterization every single bucket. So instead of dealing with, I'm going to assume that whole block of 3,000 or 5,000 tons is one grade, we now tell them exactly what the grade is every 50 tons to 90 tons, depending on the size of the bucket. And so that allows them to then, we tie directly into their fleet management system. We give them that same information at truck level. And so essentially we take over the routing designation in the mine at the pit, in the pit.
Wow. So, well, I guess that's where the reduction comes in, because if you've got 10 trucks that are needing to haul, but you're only 80% of it should be getting hauled. I mean, actually, I guess what is the example? Like when we're talking per ton, I mean, what is the reduction that needs to even get hauled? How does it work on the actual logistics of it?
Yeah, that's exactly correct. So if the mine plan without ShovelSense designated a block as waste, then the trucks that are coming up beside the shovel, all those trucks are being sent to the waste dump, and then that material gets dumped and never to be seen again. But in that waste block, there's absolutely good ore, and depends on the mine, but that's somewhere between 5 and 20% typically. And without ShovelSense, that literally gets thrown away. With ShovelSense, we're now designating those trucks, so that 5 to 20% of the trucks, instead of going to the waste dump, they go to the mill and get processed. And what that means for the mine is that's absolutely, it's found revenue, it's found profit. It's metal that's there, that's above cutoff, that they make money on, that yesterday they threw away, and now they're finding. And that's one of the primary reasons that we focused on being on shovels in the pit, because once that material is on that truck, it's gone.
It's gone.
And anything downstream, you've lost that. And the mines we work with, the profit improvement, on average, 75%, 3/4 of the profit improvement come from that, the recovering ore out of what was designated as waste. It's a huge game changer for the bottom line of the mine.
What's the big? I mean, I know that you weren't here at the very beginning of the company.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm sure you've talked to a lot of people. And what have been the big bottlenecks and challenges over the year of getting, you know, industry adoption, product development? I mean, those sensors must take a beating,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to two things. So yeah, the biggest one was when I started at MineSense, and I wasn't from the mining industry. I've been in many different industries, but I was learning mining sort of on the go. And as I talked to customers, they were telling me, look, if this works, we get the value. This would be amazing, but it's never going to work. It's impossible. You can't put that delicate equipment on the edge of a bucket. Now, I mean, I was nicely naive at that time, and did not realize they weren't correct, but they were more correct than I knew.
Right.
So there was a huge challenge, the shock and vibration in the bucket. Originally, the team had designed to military spec, which G is a measure for shock and vibration. It's 50 G, 50. And when we first went on with our first customer, literally everything broke, but not at once. It broke sequentially. And we started really understanding, and the shock and vibration is actually 160 G, not 50. And so we were on that journey to get the product. We're now running consistently at 90% availability or above, but there was a journey to get there. So that was really number one. Number two is, you know, as you've referenced, the industry is a little bit conservative sometimes on innovation and new technology. Now, like everything, as I mentioned, we found some fantastic partners that actually did not fit that description at all. But we're now seeing a huge change now that the technology is proven.
I wanted to go into a little bit about the. I'm going to bring up this chart. I know you've already touched on it, but I wanted to sort of expand on it a bit, and I'll swing it over. I'm going to bring it up for the audience here. Can you just sort of, again, I apologize, I know you touched on, but can you just kind of show what we're looking at here as this chart flow?
Yeah. So what we're looking at is a simplified but a standard flow sheet for a sulfide mine that has a concentration plant. And the intriguing thing about this is that the first time from in an operational level that they actually measure the stream is all the way at the end in the flotation circuit with the on-stream analyzer.
Right.
And again, if you compare that to any other industrial process, they would think that's insane that you're not measuring it until there. So what we've done is we've taken that now and we're giving as accurate measurements right in the pit. Now, what we're also starting to do more and more of is, in addition to our ShovelSense, we also have a BeltSense product.
That, yeah.
Yeah. And we believe that sorting needs to be done in the pit. That's, as I mentioned, that's where the biggest profit opportunity is, because it's the only place to recover the ore out of what was designated as waste. But also, from a geological perspective, you want maximum heterogeneity, and that happens in the pit. Every time you touch it, starting with primary crush, you're mixing the ore, and so you're homogenizing it. So we believe ore sorting has to be in the pit at the face, but we do use our BeltSense as for data to optimize, different parts of the mining process, and it provides visibility for the mine now, starting in the pit, all the way through to what is actually feeding the flotation circuit. So we have an installation here in BC at Copper Mountain, and they have ShovelSense on their entire fleet. They have a BeltSense right in front of the SAG mill, and we'll be putting a second BeltSense at their stockpile. And the idea is that we'll know exactly what's in their ore from the very beginning, but then be able to track that all the way through. How does that, as you put something into the stockpile and when you think it's coming out, how does that change? That would be what the BeltSense will be checking. And then the final belt sense is actually tied directly to their DCS, the control, what controls their the reagents and used in the and other elements to optimize recovery in the flotation circuit. And so what we now will be able to give them is complete visibility from pit to mill.
Something when you're talking through this, because you're very specialized, it's a very clear value add, which of course the entrepreneurial side of me is always going, well, that's interesting. Because we have some people on the show. I mean, some of them, granted, they've been around years and years, and they've mergers and acquisitions all layered together. So I understand, and they're trying to sort of separate out what they're doing, and so it can make for a tough interview. With talking to you, it's so clear. Has that been an advantage to you? To when you network, you can actually go, "This is what we're doing."
Yeah, I think it's been very clear externally, but also when I joined the company, I think it was very helpful internally. So I actually increased the focus very specifically. We were a little bit all over the map. We had another technology. It was actually the founding technology that ended up not having any practical application. It was interesting. And then we also, a lot of people were focused on conveyance, but it was our sensing on conveyance, different belt products. But it was very clear to me that the absolute secret sauce, the golden goose, the holy grail, whatever analogy you want to use, was actually being able to get that information in the pit. So we put everything else on the back burner and focused on getting ShovelSense up and running, and that really helped us internally. We also focused on I refer to it as a layering in strategy. As a small growing company, we can't boil the ocean. Yeah. So we also were very focused on a number of dimensions in terms of where we're going to go first and what we're going to do first. Yeah. Hence, most of our work done in British Columbia, the focus on copper as two examples. Now we're expanding geographically into other metals.
Yeah. When you're as a leader of your company, when you start to, for lack of a better word, cut away the fat and zero in. That can, especially for the minds that are like, they see all the flashy things, and I mean, I'm guilty of it too. You've got to get buy-in. You've got to minimize the distractions and focus, and that can be a tricky thing. I'm curious how you went about that.
I think again, it started with getting the MineSense team to see the vision of what this could be.
Right.
And we tried very early to paint a picture of the impact we could have on the mining industry. And we're, people talk about that, but internally, if you came to visit us here in Vancouver, I think you get a sense throughout our team that we really wake up and get excited about two really critical things. So we believe that the mining industry is focused on improvements and going digital, everything else. We truly believe that we can be one of those transformative technologies and have this massive impact into this critical industry. And that's really what motivates us first. And then the other one is the sustainability aspect, that we can make the mines more profitable and we help them be cleaner and reduce their environmental footprint. I mean, those are two very powerful elements, and you don't need much else, to be honest. So we focused on that. We got our team massively psyched up about that. And then everything else falls out of that. Right. If we can do that, then good things will happen. And that's how we created that focus.
So you're really creating the vision and then interweaving what you're delivering to the customers into that.
Exactly. I mean, then it becomes execution on that.
Right.
And so that also, like, why ShovelSense? Why do something that crazy versus the easy route of doing things on the conveyance? Well, it didn't fit with the vision in terms of maximizing the impact on profit and sustainability. You can't get to the same levels if you're focused on bulk ore sorting on belts. You can only do it with ShovelSense. And so that really helped everybody focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's, I mean, and I've seen some of your customer feedback and things like that, and talk to people about that. When I got these interviews, especially now here, I could say, oh, so-and-so is coming on the show. And then I sort of get a sense of what people are saying about the company. There's a lot of great feedback. So I'm glad you came on. It's nice to be able to look at the camera and say, I've got a pioneer of the show of mining on, and then be able to outline why I can say that. So thanks for coming on, Jeff. And I hope we get to talk again soon.
Jared, I really enjoyed it, and I think I'll add that to my resume, pioneer, and I'll just reference you. Jared said,
Jared
right? So
said.
yeah, exactly.
Don't use my name. That might not help.
No, all right. Great.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jeff.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. That's our first episode of the last day. We've got plenty. I think we got 4 more to do today, so plenty coming at you. We will see you on the next episode of Mining Now.